Hi, Dr. Ruth Anderson here with Enlightened World. Today is launch day for our very first volume of the anthology, Gateway to an Enlightened World, Collective Life Lessons to Support Planetary Transformation. I am absolutely delighted to have one of the co-authors here with me, Stephen Altair. Stephen, would you come on and say hello?
Hi there, Ruth, and hello, everybody. Love and blessings, and it truly is a great privilege to be part of Gateway to an Enlightened World. And as you know, we've been part of this from really its early inception. So I feel truly, it feels like a sacred birth. It's something that it's my great privilege to work with you, Ruth. It truly is. And thank you for all the wonderful connections you've given me and all the incredible times we've had together. So thank you. I can't say it enough. Thank you.
For those of you that don't know, so Enlightened World came from Archangel Michael. The idea of Enlightened World came from Archangel Michael. And somehow, I'm sure through the magic of Facebook, somehow Stephen and I connected. And Stephen was so instrumental in Enlightened World coming into the physical realm. And I'm getting goosebumps even saying that, Stephen. But Stephen holds a space in the inner circle for Enlightened World of one of the founders that helped bring it here. So, Stephen, you mean the world to me.
And you to me.
Yeah.
You to me. I keep trying to give these virtual hugs to you and everybody out there because you mean the world to me too, Ruth. It was such an amazing opening that was there. Like Archangel Michael gave us that portal and we both took it, and you of course were the founder, and it was your beautiful energy that brought through that archangelic power. And I was just amazed what you were able to do from the ground up, and it was the right time. And I think it's the right time for so many things, including this book right here as we shift in the energies of this planet. And people are waiting. They can see the creative source at work. They can feel Divine Mother's power. They can see the power of the archangels as they gather and they assist this planet to uplift and ascend. And we are really in such amazing times. I know there's a strong feeling on this planet for the desire for a shift, but also sometimes, that confusion and stress and uncertainty that comes with such a big shift. We can see it in every corner of our planet, that desire for change, the desire for peace, the desire for deep knowing, the desire for presence. And at the same time around us, we see these extraordinary shifts in politics and society and at the ground level, what people are facing. So I really reach out to everybody there who may be struggling even today with anything, family matters, finances, health, all those basic things that here in the book that you've offered the world, Ruth, and in the energy and consciousness you bring is such a hope, is such a brilliant way for people to find that faith and find that hope and find that understanding and find that enlightened gateway to a new world and a better planet and a place that we all want to live. Because I do believe we all want the same thing, even those in the corridors of power that are struggling at the moment. We want the same thing. So we're all reaching out to each other, and this, you and I, are a symbol for what everybody's wanting to do. Reach out, feel supported, feel the space of really deep and powerful consciousness awakening.
Well, and I think it's interesting, at least it's coming more into my awareness, how people are connecting together to goosebumps, to co-create and bring things that are opening the doors to the spiritual divinity coming in even stronger and stronger. And one example of that is you with Kevin Schoeninger. The work that the two of you two are doing together is outstanding. Do you want to just take a quick minute and talk about that?
Sure. So Kevin and I started a community through you, Ruth, because it was really the Enlightened World energy that also birthed us and our co-creation, and a group called Raising Our Vibration. So we have a group of people now, a core group called Raising Our Vibration Community, and you can find us on Facebook, on under that title, Raising Our Vibration Community. And there's a core group of people who are really the most amazing angelic souls who've come together, who've done a program that we've put together, which takes you through a process of preparation, interoception, mindfulness, transcendence, connecting to source, and then bringing those insights into the world and being of service. So we've got a simple 7-step process that helps people through. And we've been tracking it on things like the Muse headset, which helps you to look at the way that your brainwave is unfolding at the same time as you're doing this inner process. And it really is quite remarkable. And I just love to bits the people that we're working with, because they have truly taken this journey with us, just in the same way as Kevin and I have taken this journey with you. Like, we're truly all in this together. So I'm amazed that the progress and process that people have followed so diligently, and the way the inner experiences that they describe are very much like what you're talking about, and an awareness of light, light opening, an awareness of source, whether that source comes through Divine Mother or the Buddha consciousness or the Christ consciousness, or whether it comes through some other way or manifestation. They're really starting to understand a quantum shift, and that this quantum consciousness is everything, everywhere, all the time, and letting go of the self, and really stepping into a space of surrender where energy starts to flow, shifts start coming in your life. So it's just beautiful. And as I say, thank you for allowing me to talk about that for a minute, because that again is something that birthed out of Kevin and my connection through you with Enlightened World. So there's a whole series of, we've got a book coming out, and a series of meditations, and an app, and a whole variety of ways that people can access source and truly touch the love, light, and the peace, because that's the process that it's called the LLP, or the light, love, peace transformation. So thank you for the opportunity to speak about that.
Well, yes. And I think it's interesting. You mentioned service, and it just so seems that what Spirit is doing, working with folks, and then there's this piece of, it's nice that I have this information, but how do I share that? It just feels like there's this extra push to get people to share their messages, share their stories, start teaching classes, whatever it is, to put the information out into the world. Are you feeling that too?
Oh, very, very definitely. I mean, that's Kevin and my entire orientation. And I think the opportunity for people to reach out and teach and touch other people is right here and now. Like, when you consider our world, if we started from a 0 point and we were to rebirth our planet all over again, then we would look at it an entirely different way. We've been stuck for millennia in, developing technology and developing things that are actually ripping our planet apart. And if we were to shift that around and actually focus on spiritual transformation, which we're being able to do, a lot of our lifestyles and a lot of our, planetary changes are shifting us towards this, care and nurture of the environment, caring for each other, being kind as a entire species, looking at the way that we relate to each other, just those simple things. So we want to teach, and all those basic things that we really should have in place. People are realizing actually they're not quite as solid as we thought they were. We're still struggling, and yet we've got a great job and we've got a lovely family, and yet why do we feel all this stress? And there's all this fast pace and stress that goes along with this lifestyle and these new technologies that in many ways we just don't need, and we don't need to buy into them to the extent that we do. So people are reaching out to teach and help others how to de-stress, slow down, open up to source. Because when we're so busy and we're just full of all our internal stories, we miss the bigger message, we miss the bigger picture that source is trying to bring through. And it really is not just connecting to this planet, but connecting to the angelic energies that exist across the entire universe. I mean, most of the time we're focusing on this little 1% of a life, and we miss the incredible cosmos that's trying to speak and breathe and move through us. So, I love that phrase, we're the universe breathing. I mean, we really literally are. We are that stuff that's made of stars, and we have the capacity to birth infinite possibilities. And yet, most of the time, because of the way that we've chosen to live a life at this point, and that's what it's all about. It's about taking responsibility for this shift ourselves. It's not out there. We can't blame world leaders or a world situation. We are part of this change. So we've got to step up and make the shift ourselves. So I think that's what people are realizing and wanting to teach and wanting to reach out to others and say, hey, I'll hold your hand, and here's how we can do it. So Kevin and I, in terms of what we're doing, and Ruth, in terms of what you're doing with us, we all know it's not about us. It's about our collective consciousness and about the power that we have when we're in unity. And I think that's something that's really quite remarkable. It's shown, and there's a lot of hypotheses out there at the moment, like the gamma hypothesis, which says that we're actually moving and evolving into a new state of being. And that part of that is actually showing up in humans' brains everywhere through higher brainwave states like the gamma brainwaves and newer waves at either end of the spectrum, epsilon and lambda, which actually are very high and very low brainwave states. So in fact, divinity is showing through, even through science and technology, and saying, wake up, well, now's the time. We're giving you all the tools. You've not only got the technology, but you actually have the inner states of being to allow us all to access source right here and now. Yeah, so it's
That's so well stated. For some reason, I'm being reminded of something that I saw at one point. My family was on vacation on Sanibel Island, which is in Florida. And Sanibel is known for a lot of seashells. So you get up in the morning, you go, walk the beach, and you pick up all the shells. And I remember we were staying in a condo, second floor. So I could see the ocean. I could see folks, hunched over picking up shells. And one particular morning I got up and I'm observing people from the second story. And I see all these people hunched over looking for shells. What they don't see is, I don't know how far offshore, but very close. There were like 12 dolphins doing this in the water right next to shore. And the folks that were only focused on the shells totally missed that entire view. It was such a lesson to me that, some folks are just so caught up in the day-to-day, this is how I'm making my money, or, creating this thing, and just oblivious of everything that's happening out in the ethereal realm. So I think we're watching the dolphins here.
No, I totally agree. And look, I can really deeply relate to your story because some years ago, when I was involved with a group in New Zealand, and we were looking at manifestation, how do you connect to each other, like telepathy or telekinesis? How do you connect with the dolphins? How do you connect with other worlds? How do you connect with the angels? And I was with a group of friends down on a beach, and they said to me, they were making a joke. I had 5 friends, so 5 witnesses, and they said, call the dolphins, if you say you can communicate. Well, I had nothing that said in me that I couldn't do that. And I sat down and I started to breathe in the inner astral spine and the inner sushumna. And I felt instantly the ocean birth inside the spine. And right at that moment, out in the ocean, a pod of dolphins swam along. And my friends, I know they were in awe. They still talk about this today. The dolphins swam along, and they stopped and they swam straight into the beach where I was. And I opened my eyes because I knew I could feel in my body, like it's that sense of really deep interconnectedness with all beings, like you feel with the archangels. At that moment, I could feel it with the dolphins. And I just took off my clothes. I said, well, I'm going to talk to them. And it was a pretty wild ocean beach. It was in Kaikoura in New Zealand. And I said, come on, are you coming? And they said, no, they were, they were a little bit too freaked out by the experience. And so I jumped in the water. That pod swam around me for 20 minutes, diving over me, talking to me. I mean, it was just so obvious, the kind of really deep understanding that we have when we reach out, not just to ourselves, but to other creatures on this planet. It was amazing. And I have those friends still today who said, yeah, we remember you did say you could do it and you did it. And I said, well, it wasn't about me. I just tuned into source, and that manifestation of source, which happened to be the ocean consciousness and the dolphins. And I do think that wonderful metaphor that, the source is the ocean, and or consciousness is the ocean, and the mind is the waves. I mean, we really are truly part of all this. We're totally immersed. We're one with that. We're one with source. We're one with the archangels when we really realize it. And no better person than you, has shown again and again that you connect to the archangels and divine mother in a similar way to what I do, to bring through these messages for humanity. And look, I just love the work that you do, and that's spreading in this way through this wonderful book and through this collective consciousness. Because like I do, that when people really have the deep faith to connect to the ocean or the dolphins or the archangels or the or source, and they're not looking at the seashells, but they're actually aware of the 99% of the rest of the cosmos that's beckoning to them and saying, I'm here working, living through you, then just the most remarkable miracles happen. And that's it's just such a beautiful path that we're on, that we can share in that way.
It is very exciting. But let's talk about your chapter in this book. So your chapter is Divine Mother and the Pearl. Now, what prompted you to share this story? And it's a fascinating story, by the way. What prompted you to share it for this book?
Gateway to an Enlightened World really is about touching the aspects of universal consciousness that live in us. And when I was a little boy, I had a dream that I was a monk on a bridge with a companion, and I fell off into a chasm of cosmic sound and light. It's actually my first conscious memory is of the sound and the light. And some years later, my mum told me that when she was a teenage girl, she met a Maori elder, a tohunga, who told her about my past life as a monk, and that she hadn't want to reveal this to me in case I ran off and became a monk when I was a youngster, or when I was very little. Now, that dream made me very curious about spiritual life, because I had that dream every day for an entire year. And they, funnily enough, they took me to brain specialists and gave me EEG readings to find out what was wrong. They couldn't find anything. So it did make me very curious about life, the inner world, the invisible world, and how on earth does a 2-year-old contact that kind of consciousness, and what is the message it's bringing day after day. And I think dreams, we all have dreams. There's an inner world there that we don't give a lot of attention to. And when we do, we can actually start to do dream yoga and understand that if we go to bed at night and we visualize the light as we go to sleep, and visualize an opening at the throat chakra with, say, a pink rose, something beautiful happens. We allow the consciousness of Divine Mother to awaken in our spine as we sleep and bring us messages of clarity, messages of wisdom, above and beyond our normal karmic dreaming state. So that story led me on to really getting deeply in touch with Jesus and the archangels, and with Buddha consciousness, and with Krishna consciousness. And Jesus did appear to me once in my life and helped me to heal a young girl from demons, to free her from possession at that stage, through a healing where Jesus told me to say, by the power of Christ, be gone. And I did this, and that's all part of the story, which people can read. And just again and again, when we really dig deep into source, we're supported all the way through our lives. That's that gateway to the enlightened world within. And some years later, I was with a friend, and we visited a house that was owned by a Sai Baba devotee. And there was a statue of Ganesha with Amrita coming out of the trunk, which I was able to taste, with no known source, just flooding onto the floor. I could pick the statue up. There was nothing underneath. This liquid kept flowing out. And there was a statue of Divine Mother in the form of Guan Yin. And I prayed in front of her as the person instructed me to do. And she said, if your heart's true, you'll be given a gift. And a beautiful pearl, a rare deep sea ocean pearl, birthed out of the statue's heart and fell into my hand. And I kept that for many years. And upon my mother's passing, I gave it to her. And the pearl actually disappeared at that. I have no idea where it went. But I had used it for many years for healing. And the miracle of the consciousness of the gateway in us, that's really what my story was about, was that that gateway to the enlightened world within us comes in so many different forms. For me, it came in the form of a dream. So it helped me to understand and look into dream yoga. It came in the form of Jesus and the archangels. So it made me look into my connection, not just to Christianity, but to Buddhism and to Krishna consciousness and into Muslim consciousness. So it made me look right across the world at the truths of all these religions and the power of unity when we actually really understand each other. And then it also made me understand that that Divine Mother can manifest in the most remarkable ways when we're actually open to the miracles that are within us, because they manifest in the visible world in the same way. But it comes from that gateway within us that is a gateway to the enlightened world. So my examples were just 3 simple examples of the way those gateways can open to the enlightened world, or to the invisible world of source that's within us, that is pure consciousness and pure existence and pure joy and is everything, everywhere, all the time. So yeah, that was my sharing. And I just thought it was a very powerful opportunity or gateway that you were offering the world, that I could contribute in this small, very humble way to helping people's consciousness realize there are miracles, and they come from within you, from your connection to Divine Mother, to the archangels, to source, to whatever consciousness you're tuning into with purity and faith and with deep devotion.
You know, Stephen, when I hear you talk, I fall in love with you more and more each time. And I know that it's the divine in me falling in love with the divine in you.
We both do that, Ruth.
I know. That's so awesome. So, all right, my friend, I know I need to let you go.
Yes, it's early here in Japan. So, and I'm off into Tokyo very soon.
Yes, folks want to follow you. How did they find you?
Probably the easiest is through Kevin and my community on Facebook, Raising Our Vibration Community. They can also find the references in the book. They can also look on www.altairsham.com, which is ALTAIRSHYAM.com. But yeah, anybody, if you dial me up on the Facebook, it's Stephen Altair SK. Any of those things will get to me. And ultimately, if you look up Altair Sham on the internet, there's a whole plethora of books and recordings and interviews and meditations and so on. So, or contact you, Ruth. I mean, I've learned already that when people contact you like Kevin does, that you're going to create a miracle for them. So, you know, that's the best way of all. contact Ruth.
Perfect.
She'll put you in touch with whoever you need to be, you know, and they might contact you to get in touch with me, and you might have a better, you know, connection for them, or you might have a number of. So I think that's the wonderful part of it. It's no longer about me and you. You know, we are part of the divine matrix that actually is awakening and liberating people just purely by us being here. So that's the wonderful thing that we're offering, is a lot of magic in a very, very beautiful world. So thank you for, you know, Gateway to an Enlightened World. It's a remarkable book that you've put together, a powerful anthology, and the most amazing consciousness for our planet. I think that everybody needs to read it. It really is such a joy and an honor to be part of it. So
Thank you.
great love and many blessings and enormous hugs and kisses. And thank you, Ruth. I love you dearly.
I love you too. Okay, we'll talk soon. Thank you,
All
Steve.
right.